here. And today we are going to be doing some kitchen updates, working on our kitchen garden. But we're going to take some of our plants here that have, I wouldn't say overgrown the garden, but wow, it's taking up a lot of room. And we're going to be moving them into our kitchen. But we always like to check in on our nursery here before we before we do anything. Everybody looks pretty good. I don't think anyone's told them to have roots, but this one looks like it has true leaves. So that means it's ready to receive some food. So I might put this one directly in the garden today. But first, let's do what our plan is today, because sometimes we digress. So we're gonna use some propagated plants. So we have all of this lemon balm here, and we're gonna add this to our kitchen garden area. It is a lot that is growing here. So I'm just gonna cut off some at the bottom, because today is a good day to garden. So to cut them off, usually I look at the right here if I'm doing pruning and cut them there, but there's so much of it, and we are just going to be adding this to another garden, so I'm gonna just make the cut here. Interesting, I forgot the scissors. So let me go get that. Let me just put you guys here for a moment. I didn't put you on a tripod today because I was like, oh, we're gonna go into the kitchen, so everything's set up in there. So let me just put you guys here and get the scissors. All right, I'm back. And we're time for us to make our cut. So we're cutting here. And after we make our cut, we're gonna come back and clean this up. At the lowest part, and we're gonna have these propagated. So this is a pretty fresh batch. We make our cut. And we have our lemon balm. It smells very lemony. All right. So we got our scissors and we got our soldering iron, because drainage is important for all plants. So this is where we're going to be doing our setup here in our kitchen. So in the past, this is the citrus corner. However, it is summer and all of our citrus is outside. And now it's just plain and quiet in here because all the citrus plants have gone, pretty much. Citrus plants have gone, pretty much. We're going to put in our own little plants here in the window. So when the citrus plants do come back, they still have their spots on their stands, but we'll have some other things growing up inside. Now it's been very, very, very hot outside. And so a lot of plants, some of our cooler weather plants that were here aren't doing too well. All right, so I'm gonna come around. We are going to out here. You know what? Let me turn you guys around, so I too can see what's happening. There we go. There we go. Okay, so let's have a seat, and we are going to be putting our pot together here. There we go. I don't have too much light, but it is what it is. There we go. So we're going to be in the kitchen. This is where we're going to be planting our plants for our indoor kitchen section. We're going to put them here on the windowsill so that when our citrus plants, which are outside, come back in for the winter, we didn't take up their space with something else. So we have a tomato plant that we're going to plant inside and our lemon balm. All right, so let me take one of these down. Of course, as you know, we definitely have to make sure we have our drainage. So we have our soldering iron right here. Let me plug it in to make sure we keep our plants well drained. And then we have our Put this down. Lights on, that means it's starting. And we have our soil and everything. So let's get started. So I just picked this up at the right local box store. And I was like, I just wanted something to describe. I didn't want it to be this big. I wanted some lettuce also. But a lot of my lettuce plants, the ones inside and outside, it's been too hot both inside and outside. So I'm gonna put it in here. I'm also gonna have the lemon balm grow in here. And I'm gonna put this tomato plant in there. So we're just gonna do one today until we figure out and think about what we're gonna put in the other one. If you guys have any suggestions for what should be planted in our windowsill planting, let me know. So let's put our hole in. I don't think it's not hot enough yet. So let's wait for it to heat up a little more. And we're gonna put our hole in. So we have some potted soil that we're gonna be putting in here for our window side setting. And I'm gonna probably put like a mat down or something underneath it just to collect the water for drainage purposes. The tomato plant should do pretty good inside. The ones inside and on the other side are doing very well. So we're gonna plant those inside, and then we're gonna plant this lemon balm. We're gonna let it propagate. You could propagate it in water. However, we're here, it's doing well. We're gonna propagate it directly into the soil. So that means you just make the cutting, as you saw earlier, off the garden, and then let it grow. Sometimes we trim off some of the leaves off the side to give it the opportunity to propagate a lot more easier. But in the past, technically you're supposed to cut off the leaves. In the past, I've just put them in the water, put them in the soil, and they kept on growing. They didn't miss a beat. So what I usually do is do that method, and then if I see them not growing as quickly, then I'll cut off some of the leaves, make some tea, dry it out, and go from there. But if not, I just leave them. All right, so we have 2 holes. I always say what they give is not enough, but we are inside, so you don't want too much drainage. This is in the kitchen, so we don't want it to make too much of a mess. But we are gonna put 2. It comes with 3 places for holes. We're gonna put the 2 in there. I'm gonna put 1 extra one on each side here. So there's a little circle spot here. So we're gonna put it in here and put 1 extra on each side. So we're gonna be doing some companion planting for inside. We're gonna be planting our lemon balm with our tomato plant. Plug this out. This is a pepper plant here. It currently needs a little bit of trimming. Possibly since we're inside doing some gardening, we'll do some trimming to that plant. So I've turned it upside down. Here are the holes. It's better to see them. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we got 3 holes in here to make sure we get proper drainage for our indoor setup. This has a piece of cardboard. It's not necessary. You take it out. Sometimes when it's inside and you don't want to have too much drainage, the bottom can be lined with soil. Not with soil, with stones, clay pebbles, or leaves to help kind of fill it and make it higher. But I'm going to just put the soil in here because I want to continuously plant in here. So 1 is a companion plant, so it will give it a lot more room so that the different types of plants that are growing in here can grow. And 2, after their season is up, I'm gonna plant more things inside and also put in seeds. So having soil that goes all the way down to the bottom for this case is important so that you can have your plants like lettuce, which as it gets a little cooler, I'm probably gonna have lettuce planted in on the top. So lettuce and herbs that are very shallow in roots grow up here. And then probably 1 or 2 plants, since this is not that long. Let me see how many inches it is. I think it's about 24 inches. Yeah, so this one, which is about 24 inches long, would have a shallow space for shallow plants. and then a deep space for the deeper root plants to spread their roots and grow and expand and have nutrients from the bottom. I'm not putting in any additional nutrients in this for the plants as they propagate. Well, these are propagating. This one's already grown. I'm not putting any additional nutrients. I'm going to be using liquid nutrients so I can better control how much nutrients goes in it. I had a plant, well, it's still there, right here outside the window, our tomato plant. I'll probably show you a little later on. I put too much nutrients in it, and then had to take the soil out. So it's doing fine. It has a ton of tomatoes. It literally has probably about 50 something tomatoes. However, I'm gonna see if I can get you guys zoomed in on it. However, let's see if you guys can see it. So it has a lot of tomatoes on it, but the plant wasn't doing well for a while because it had not some great of a mix of nutrients. So lots of tomatoes came out because it was well nurtured, but it was too much. So with that being said, I'm gonna put the more of a liquid one so I can control better how much nutrients I put in here. Okay, so let's add some soil in. Put you guys a little further back. We're gonna add some soil in and get planted. So I'm using a potting mix. This is organic potting mix. I'm gonna be mixing it with another one. So we have, because I never use this one directly, one kind specifically. I'm a little backlit right here, so let's see if we can get some better lighting. Oh well, this is, since we're in this corner, the light is coming from behind me. Maybe let me put you guys this way and and you can watch, you can see me plant the stuff. But again, yes, this is the kitchen. It's real life. We got all the people and all the messes going on in the background. So we'll do it this way so you guys can better see what's happening. All right, so we have my cup. I'm just gonna use a cup to fill it in. I was like, I will clean the kitchen after since I know I'm gonna be doing a lot with soil. And I'm just gonna put in about half. I'm also gonna mix this. So it's not that the plants at the bottom would have one type of soil and the roots that are on top would have another type of soil. We're just going to add in this organic potting mix. One of the things you can also do with potting mix to keep it nice and light and fluffy is to mix in, if you have any, I have like, sometimes when from the garden, I have extra rock wool that when I'm discarding a plant or sending it outside to seed, because I don't really discard plants. It has grown and I'm sending it outside to seed. I have a little extra rock wood. I put it in here and mix it into the soil, and it makes it a little extra light and fluffy. It creates spaces of air. And that's not fresh rock wool, that's rock wool already used. And I do also have fresh rock wool, but I usually don't mix it in because some of the potting soil already comes with the rock wool mixed in, giving it a lighter and fluffy feel. Now, because we do have one deep plant that's going in, so this one I'm gonna have going here, I'm just going to, it's not high enough yet, but I'm gonna put it in and put the soil in around it so that it's better after I get to the bottom level, so that it'll better be able to fit in there. So let me go get the second type of soil that I'm gonna mix in, and we can add it. So this is our Moisture Plus soil. I usually use this one. I'm gonna add this in as well. I'm not adding in any coconut today. Coconut care, which is the coconut husk, in today. This one's pretty light already. And there's a possibility that Well, no, I'm keeping this for the cool plants because we have some plants that are really missing the warm weather. So as you can see, I've added it in to about this much thus far. The two different types of soil. I'm going to mix it in just a little bit. And then I'm going to put this cup in and continue. I want it to go up to here. And to continue to fill the soil up around it. That way it can, I'll have the shape already filled out. So when I add it in, when I take it out of the cup, the hole's already there. I just put it right back in and it's smooth and easy. So let's scoop in the rest with our moisture, regular moisture grow potting mix. I always want to use potting mix inside, and it has the perlite mixed into it already. So we're going to be mixing this in. I'm not adding any worm castings or anything like that, given as though this is the inside. And plants really need the nutrients more than anything. So for now, we're gonna have our tomato in here. I'm also gonna be taking a cut-in of some of our plants from outside as the winter finishes and adding them in. So yes, you just pack it in around there. And then we're also I'm going to be bringing another one of our green stalks. We have two green stalks that are inside of the sunroom, vertical planters. Later on, I'm going to be bringing one of them outside. I brought another one outside and it's doing very well. Let's see. All right, there we go. So we got our cup in there. Of course, I'm going to take it out of the cup, but this is just an easier way so you don't have to re-dig to put the soil around it as the right size. There we go. So we have our buildup for here. And then we also have some plants that are in the nursery. So we have some yellow Swiss chard that I'm gonna put on this side and then have our lemon balm growing in the middle. So we have two cooler weather plants that we have. So yeah, so this is an example of, well, no, this is not it. Sometimes in here I could see the pieces of rock wool. Here we go, yeah. An example of them mixing in the rock wool. This came with the soil that was purchased in the bag, but you could just add rock wool if you have extra ones and mix it into the soil for yourself. Okay, so we have this up to here. A couple more scoops. We're filling it all the way to the top because the other plants that we're putting in are not, this one comes with soil. So these don't have soil in them already. They're just roots, so we're just going to be adding them in. Now I'm going to leave my space right now for our lemon balm. Put that here. So let's take this plant out. As you can see, once you take the cup out, the hole is there, nice and clean, the exact size. So I'm taking my cup out. And we are going to take the plant out gently. You can see we have to loosen up some of these roots. And get a little bit of, so they know they don't have to grow in that circle anymore. There's new nutrients, there's new stuff out here for the roots to expand. So I'm loosening them up a little. And put it in there. See, it fits perfectly. Put it in there. All right, bring it in. Then we give it a little bit of watering. Let's take up these bottom two. Give a little bit of watering and let it grow from there. I'm going to be adding some supports as the tomato plant grows. Because of course, even if they're small cherry tomatoes, they still need the support. So these are not small cherry tomatoes, these are husky red cherry. So we are they're still small, but they're a little bigger So I'm going to be adding some supports as the plant gets a little taller. Now we have this section here. Make sure we have enough space. Over here, I'm going to have the yellow Swiss chard, which is right now in the nursery. So once it's ready and it comes out of the nursery, we are going to add it here. And the lemon balm that we cut, the lemon balm is growing in all different directions. So you just find the ends. So again, I've propagated, so as I said, technically what you're supposed to do is, let me tell you the right way to do it, is you have your one stem here and you cut off these stems that have branched off so that the lemon balm can continue to grow. That's the correct way. It makes less energy and less work for the plant when propagating. However, I propagated a lot of times without doing that. I mean, I've done it before, but other times I've just brought it like to the kitchen because I'm gonna make tea a little later, and then never made tea with it, and then it just started to propagate on its own and grew and went on. So with that being said, all these steps are not necessary all the time. But if I do see that the plant is struggling, I will add I would start to help it along. I would cut off the bottom ones and of course leave it to dry and make tea. Hello. As you can see, Angelina and the team just came to visit. So we're getting the bottoms because I just kind of grabbed it and made a cutting. I'm not planting them. I'm going to be spreading them out a little bit. So let's just spread out all the ends here. I'm planting them a little shallow because this is not a deep rooter. And adding it in. I'm going to add from this side. Of our little box here. Now this is a south facing window, so it gets pretty good light. All of our citrus trees were doing good and flowering and everything in this corner. So it is a pretty decent space for lighting. So it has very good lighting. All right, so let's continue to add our soil. And there you have it. While I have you guys on, we might as well go outside and take a look on how some of the plants are doing. So yeah, so this is going to be for our citrus. This side is going to be for our yellow Swiss chard. Just lower it in. So far, none of the plants are coming in low. They're all going to be here. And so we have them right at the edge. All right, so let's get some water to water these in. I'm going to use regular water today and not my sitting water. It's okay if once in a while. Switch it up once in a while. Oh, I do have sitting water. You have to go through all that. There you go. My water canister is right here with the sitting water. So you water it in well. Same here. You have to get something to catch that water, that drainage. Then we're just going to add this to the windowsill. So I will keep you guys posted with our photos. Please follow me on Instagram and like and subscribe here on YouTube so that you're able to get, especially when I'm posting the updates, they're usually in very short shorts. So during the YouTube shorts or Instagram reels, you'll be able to see any updates on how these plants are doing. All right, and this is going to just go right here. Let's go on the windowsill. We're just going to place down the windowsill. But since I have you guys here, let's just do a quick check to what's going on in our garden outside on our citrus plants that were in this corner and see how they're doing. Let's go. All right, looks like your cat wants to come in. All right, so we planted these the other day. It has been very hot. Uh, so we did our, this is our, they were propagated, they were brought in from inside from our garden, our Gardein, and put inside of our green stalk here. So these came as full grown plants, but it's been 90 to 100 degrees. It's been 100 degrees several days. They're doing okay. They're making their comeback. Some days they completely faint, and then some days they faint for a little while, and they come up in the morning, and then they lay down again, and then they come up in the morning. So they're acclimating themselves to the 90-degree humidity and to our green stalk, but however, they are doing well where they're at. As you can see, they are, they're not thriving, but for the transplant they went through, they're doing pretty good. Our peppers, they were always outside, so of course they are doing great in the green stalk. This is also in our garden. It's standing up again. And our spinach is dealing with the heat, but hanging in there. We have our pink Swiss chard, which we put out sometime last week. We had the live video on that. It's also doing pretty good and growing. And this is the other one. So in our new garden, we have our plants that are thriving, doing pretty well. Let me turn this pepper. Every once in a while I turn it. But it's doing pretty well out here. So yeah, this is our outdoor plants. They're doing fine. This, I thought I put a tomato plant in here. This does not look like tomatoes. I will see what exactly it is. But I thought I bit one of the tomatoes and put the seeds in it, and the plant is growing. However, this is not looking like tomatoes, but this is why you're supposed to label and not just be like, yeah, I'll know exactly what it is. Because that's what I said. I know what a tomato plant looks like, and I don't know, it's just looking a little different. But our other plants and our other seedlings are doing pretty good. We have our mustards here, developing, waiting to go into the front yard. Get our pepper plant here. This is a seed from a pepper plant that I was eating. So I was just eating pepper, and I just put some of the seeds in there. And then this is our stevia, which is hanging in there. This is going to be another plant that we're bringing back inside once the season is over, so it's staying in the pot. We also have some small lettuce that was transferred over, and it's doing pretty well. So little by little, we're adding to the green stock. So just keep your notifications on, so you get to see as we add, when we go live and add to our green stock. So I usually, what like prompts me to add is I go check our nursery, and if our nursery is looking good, then we go live and add some things to our nursery. Now this is where our citrus corner moved to. So this is where our citrus plants went. This is our our mango. We brought it outside. It's been living in the citrus corner this whole time, and although it's leaning, it has a lot of new growth since it came outside. So our mango is doing, things are going really good with the mango plants since it's been outside. So it's developing pretty well. The watering schedule, for a little while, every day it says it's gonna rain and it never rains. Then I found out my sprinkler was on for the grass, and it was catching the corner of the mango plants. So one side was getting watered every day. So let me just check to see how much water it has now. So I turned it off and said, you know what, we'll leave it rains. This is our Mara lemon plant. We have a lot of new growth coming on as well. So all this has been new development. You know, somebody came and got a snack, but all this has been new development as well. And as well as our, I keep on calling it tangerine, mandarin orange. Our mandarin orange plant is also getting some new growth. So now that the citrus corner plants are all outside, this is also our key lime. We have to have something green in the kitchen. That's what the stuff is for, the kitchen. So they're outside now, getting their real 100-degree sunlight. This is our key lime. We haven't seen any new growth in the key lime, but it's been outside. I put supports so the pot would stop falling, because the pot was falling on a daily basis. And that's growing there. Our sorrel plants is doing phenomenal. So this is our tea, and The drink is called sorrel, but the plant is called rosella. So this is our rosella plant, and usually for folks in the Caribbean, we drink this for the holidays, Christmas, and those holidays around that time. So I'm making sure that our plant is nice and flourishing. So by the time the holidays come, I'm gonna have my tea ready. I also have some of this plant growing in our garden, our hydroponic system. So I'm gonna say that makes it easier from garden to hydroponic system. So we have some growing hydroponically, and so I would be able to have it year round as well. But our outside bush, we're ready for our tea. And then, oh, one more of our citrus um, dwellers is our navel orange. And so this tree is doing pretty well. I see some new growth coming, new leaves developing, so it's doing well. And our two pepper plants, which are going to be indoor outdoor plants that are ready to come inside, going to be coming inside for our winter. So yeah, so I want to add in new things, some greenery to the kitchen, but I didn't want to put too much because I know a lot of these plants are coming back indoors. Just an update on our green stock. Let's get me. I'm barefoot. Let me get over there. Oh, there we go. Our zucchini has been flourishing. Our tomato plants are now doing a lot better. So I realized that inside of the sunroom, I don't know, the plants were, it was too humid. It was more humid than anything else. So with the humidity, I was having trouble with some of the plants. So I'm going to be bringing the other green stalk. The one that's in this corner with more sunlight is fine, but the one that is all the way in, I'm going to be bringing it out. Now the last time we moved one of these, a lot of our plants got broken, and the stems, they got damaged, like this one. You know, we were able to replant it and it's still doing well, but it did take on some damage. So I'm going to be trying it out again later on. I guess we could do a video on how we move that. It's definitely a team project. So I'm going to be asking my son to help with moving them over from outside of our sunroom to out here. Look, we got a little flower coming on in our zucchini flower developing. Wow, it's a big flower here. All right, but everything's looking good. It's doing very well out here with our green stalk that was out here. So yeah, we had a lot of this type of issue with our tomatoes inside. So I'm gonna pull these off. These leaves that weren't doing well. And this is the problem that we had inside. But once I brought them out, they started recovering well and flourishing. So that was very helpful, and they're doing very good. And I'm here just dropping them in the lawn. So I know that I shouldn't be surprised if a bunch of tomato plants just start growing out of nowhere. This looks like grass. This is not something I planted. This is something that planted itself. Here we go. We got a little pepper plant here growing. We got bigger pepper plant here flowering. So it has wind. There's birds. There are bees out here. So I don't have to worry about, having to pollinate it myself. Because there's definitely a lot of birds and bees and stuff. But yeah, so this is an example of some of the how the tomato plants are doing inside of the sunroom versus out here. So they were getting a lot of, the humidity wasn't helping them air out as much. So once I brought them out, they got a lot more wind, a lot more sunlight. They started doing better. So again, yeah, just look out for that video. We're going to be going live. I have to check with our team of when we can move the other one. It's our tan one, it's a little shorter, out here, and get some more plants in there. Some more of more stuff out of our nursery and put it in here. All right, well, it's been thank you very much for joining. I've been Angeline and the team, and thank you very much for joining us. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. Please remember to visit our website, AV Gardening. So I have kind of like a written out set of information of what we've talked about today. And also follow me on patreon.com for our behind the scenes items. And thank you for your support. It's Angeline Verdant at patreon.com, VERDANT. I stay green always, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye for now.